In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a DIY seam roll or sleeve roll in 5 minutes. So this is what a store-bought or a heavy-duty seam roll or sleeve roll looks like. It's basically just a tube that's stuffed with sawdust, and you would put it inside a sleeve or any sort of seam to lift it off of your pressing surface, so that you're just pressing the seam itself instead of the surrounding fabric. And it's a really, really helpful sewing tool, and one of the pieces of equipment that will help level up your pressing and your sewing. But as a new sewist, I know that it can be confusing to know which equipment that you need, or maybe you're hesitant to spend money on it, or maybe your budget doesn't allow to purchase one from the store. So what I wanted to do is show you how to make one from stuff you probably have at home right now, and it only takes 5 minutes. So for supplies that you'll just need a hand sewing needle, some thread. I'm using red thread so you can see it on camera, but you could just use whatever is matching the hand towel. So just use an old hand towel that you don't mind sacrificing to use for pressing equipment. But yeah, any color or style will do. And then a magazine. So a glossy magazine is going to be a little bit better just because it's going to be stiffer. And one of the most important things that a sleeve or seam roll does is it's stiff, it's a little bit rigid, so it's going to be easier to get in and out of your garment while you're pressing. So your first step is just going to be lining up your hand towel against the edge of the magazine. And then you're going to unfold the hand towel. And then you're just going to fold it in slightly longer than the height of the magazine. So just like this. Next, we're going to roll up the magazine. So I find it easier to roll from the binding side, and just roll it pretty tightly so that it is as strong as possible. And then you're just going to align it with the edge of the towel and then roll it up. So this part can be the trickiest part, just because you want to keep the towel as taut as possible while you're rolling. And also, if you wanted to use multiple hand towels, if you wanted to roll 2 up to make it extra thick and cushioned, then you could do that as well. But using one towel should be plenty. Okay, so now that we have this rolled up, you can actually see that it's about the same size, and it's also going to be stiff enough that it can be easily maneuvered inside your garment. The caveat here is that there's a magazine inside a towel, right? Like, it's not going to be super long lasting, but what this is great at is just showing you how useful the tool can be for your sewing. So the next step is just going to be to flip it upside down, and then take your needle and thread and just sew, essentially tacking stitches to keep the edge of the towel closed. So one thing I want to show you where I've anchored it on the sides, I've just made sure to catch the lower layer of the towel on each side so that it will prevent the flap from pulling back. But yeah, the stitches do not have to be pretty, just enough to anchor it. And you can see it's pretty similar both in size and stiffness. And if you want to keep using this method, you could simply just undo your stitches when the magazine gets too old and replace the magazine every once in a while, and this should do you well for your projects. I hope you guys have seen how you can make this in just 5 minutes, and it's the perfect way if you're not sure if you're ready to invest in a store-bought one, to see if it's going to be helpful for you in your projects, or if you just need a seam roll today, here is how you can make one for your project. All right, thanks you guys. I hope this was helpful, and happy sewing.